A couple of weeks ago, the highly anticipated game, LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, was released. I have finally finished the game, so today I am going to stop and rank all 5 LEGO DC games from worst to best. In last place, by no surprise to anyone, is LEGO Batman 3. I don't think that the game is a terrible game by any means. There's definitely a lot of LEGO games that are way worse than this one, but it is also clearly the weakest LEGO DC game. For every good element that it has just as many bad elements. Like, when it comes to the open world, the Batcave and the Watchtower are both really, really great, but then all of the Lantern Planets counteract that and make it to where the open world just isn't very good because 80% of it is the Lantern Planets. Only 20% is the really good stuff of the Watchtower and the Batcave. And then I think the story gets a little bit repetitive after a while. Like, you have to fight Brainiac like 5 different times back to back. And I think that the setting of those different levels is interesting, like walking through like the different miniaturized European towns and then the miniature Gotham, miniature Metropolis. I think all of that is pretty fun. I like what they do with that. That was an interesting level design, but I think just having to fight Brainiac so many times just gets a little bit repetitive. And then for the final battle, they chose to not have it be Brainiac. They chose to make the final boss fight Superman, which was a really weird decision. I like what they did with like their kind of answer to the Stan Lee in Peril from Lego Marvel Superheroes by having it be Adam West. I thought that was really nice. And then the '60s level I think is pretty good. Um, and they have Batman probably is the most powerful in this game as like out of any of the other Lego DC games, just because of the ability to change suits at will without having to go to one of the suit panels like in the previous 2 Lego Batman games. I thought was a really good idea, and it made Batman far more powerful than he normally would be in the Lego games. But then they also nerfed speedsters tremendously by making them super slow. Like, they're slower than the slowest vehicle in the game, which is just an abysmal decision. Like, they perfected the speedsters for the most part in Lego Batman 2, and then they just completely went backwards in Lego Batman 3 and made speedsters worse than they were, which it just makes no sense to me whatsoever. Um, and as a whole, the game isn't terrible, but it definitely has a lot of room for improvement and is definitely the weakest out of all of the Lego DC games. Next up on the list is Lego Batman 2. I think that as a whole, this game is definitely better than Lego Batman 3, but it still has a lot of problems, and it has some similar problems to Lego Batman 3, mainly with the story. It is really repetitive. You have to fight Lex Luthor and Joker way too many times in the game. It's just way too many times you have to fight those two. And like they should have thrown in some variety in there to make it a little bit more interesting and make it to where you don't have to fight the same 2 people so many times throughout the game. But I think that the open world is really nice. It's the first Lego game to really have like a real like open world. It's also the first Lego game to ever have talking in it, which was a huge milestone. Um, and the Justice League was really, really nice in this game, especially Superman. I mean, as soon as he comes in, the game changes completely because he's just insanely overpowered in this game. But I think that the flying in this game is not very good. Like, it's not good flying mechanics. It's really hard to control. Um, and, speedsters in this game were done really well. The Flash actually feels like he has super speed, which is great. And, because of the glitch that they have in the game, you can actually make the Flash go, like, at whatever speed you want, make him go, like, infinitely fast. Like, so fast that he breaks the game. Which is very nice. The Flash should feel fast, unlike Lego Batman 3, where they made him and all the other speedsters extremely slow. He's actually fast in this game. And the first couple of levels are interesting, where you fight the different Batman villains and all, but then once you start to get into, like, the main storyline with Joker and Lex, it just gets really repetitive really fast. And then the 100% completion bonus just isn't really good. Like, you get Supergirl, which doesn't really give you a reason to want to 100% complete it, because you already have Superman, so you don't really need Supergirl. So I think that they should have definitely made the 100% completion bonus something else that wasn't Supergirl. They make it somewhat interesting with, like, unique abilities. It isn't just a reskin of a character that you unlock early on in the game. Yeah, as a whole, I think the game is pretty good, but there's definitely a lot of issues with it that, if they improved upon it, would have definitely made the game a lot better. Next on the list is Lego Batman, the video game. Now, placing this one and the next one on the list was very, very difficult, because I enjoy both of them a lot, and figuring out which one just edged out the other one to get to second place was really difficult to do. But I think this is the one that I enjoy slightly less than the other one. And, it is a very, very good game. The story is very simple, but it works well for a Batman game. It's a very decent story. And obviously, it's back in the age where the characters didn't talk, they just mumbled. But they make it work really well with the game. I like the Batcave in this one more than the Lego Batman 2 Batcave. The fact that you can go into Wayne Manor is, like, a huge plus for the game. You can't go very far in it, but at least being able to go into a part of Wayne Manor is really nice. And then, obviously, right, the villain missions are really fun. I think, the first time all of us discovered that we could play as the villains, and the villains had their own secret story mode, like, I'm sure, like, we all were very excited when we figured that out. Like, that's a great feature to the game that really gives it a lot of extra points. Then, obviously, there's a lot of nostalgia when it comes to this game. It's the first Lego game that I ever played. I used to play it with my dad when I was really little. So it's the first Lego game I ever played, which does give it a lot of extra points. But, I think it has the most unique level design out of all of the Lego Batman games, aside from maybe Legacy of the Dark Knight. Like, each level is in, like, a new location. There's new features in all of them. And I think they handle all of the boss fights really well. There's, the boss fights are different each time. There's usually a different mechanic in each of the boss fights. Like, Mr. Freeze, you have to try and dodge the freeze gun so you don't get frozen. Then Poison Ivy, you have to find the plant that she's in. And then Joker, he electrocutes you, so you have to switch to your other player and punch him. So I think that because of the unique level design, the interesting and unique boss fights, and the villain missions, and the good Batcave and also a little bit of nostalgia, this one belongs at this spot on the list. The runner-up is LEGO DC Supervillains. Now, determining where to put this and LEGO Batman the video game was very difficult because I enjoyed both of them greatly in different ways and for different reasons. So, on a different day, this one may be put below the original LEGO Batman video game. For the time being, I enjoy this one just a little bit more, and I think this one is the better one. And the biggest factor here is that the customization, they pretty much perfected customization in this LEGO game, which is why when in the next two LEGO games, they just kind of immediately threw everything that they did with this game out the window. I think that's part of why Lego Movie 2 is such a bad Lego game and why Skywalker Saga was so underwhelming because of just the complete lack of customization that this game perfected. And I think that for the most part the level design is fairly unique. Like each level was a new setting, and usually the levels introduce like a new mechanic in each one and makes interesting use of all of the different characters' abilities, and having the story revolve around the custom character that you create I think really helps the game, and is part of what makes me like it as much as I do. It does have like a few problems, mainly like the big problem that Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 has, this one also has, where you like do a puzzle and then there's like a camera pan to somewhere else that you have to go, and like that happens like 20 times a level, and that is a bit of an issue with this game, but I think like all of the other things in this game kind of outweigh that, and the Batcave in this game is good. It's not as good as Lego Batman 3's Batcave, but it is a very good Batcave. And for the most part, all of the characters have like a different ability. So it makes like all of them fairly useful. Or at least all of like the main characters have like a different ability. Now obviously like the heroes that coincide with each villain are just kind of the opposite of the villains. Like they have the same powers, but just a different suit. But for the most part, each character has a different ability that is utilized in a different way, which I think helps with the game. I think the story for this game is probably my favorite story out of like the larger Lego Batman, Lego DC games that like focus on like the Justice League. I think this is probably my favorite story of that. They did have a post-credit scene with this game that still hasn't been followed up on. I'm hoping that eventually they will make another Lego game to follow up on that post-credit scene, because I think a Lego Crisis on Infinite Earths game would honestly be really awesome. And like if they did it, then it would probably be really good and could possibly be the best Lego game they've ever made if they do it right. Like they could honestly do it as kind of sort of a Lego Dimensions 2, but like a larger focus on the DC side of things, and just kind of have it be this like big climactic finale to sort of like the Lego DC universe and all, or maybe have it be sort of like a reset or something. But I think they should probably follow up on the post-credit scene at some point. But yeah, as a whole, I think this game is the best one out of the 4 Lego DC games that I've talked about so far, because of the customization, the uniqueness of the story, and the uniqueness of the level design. So yeah, this one comes in at second place. First place, as you've probably guessed by now, is Legacy of the Dark Knight. I think this game is clearly the best Lego DC game, and also is arguably the greatest Lego game ever made. Like, it doesn't feel like a Lego game at all in the best way possible. It's like they took an Arkham game and turned it into Lego. Like, they even have the Riddler trophies back, which can be a little frustrating at times because Riddler trophies are always annoying. But it's still nice that they got the Riddler trophies back from the Arkham games, and they also have the Arkham form of combat. And I think that the limited character roster benefits this game greatly because it allows each character to have their own unique abilities and animations that makes them stand out from all of the other characters, and gives you a reason to play as each of them. And even some of the characters who aren't necessarily in the roster but can be put into the roster through the glitch are also pretty good. Like, Alfred has his own unique falling animation where he pulls out a cup of tea. And then Lucius can just kind of fly around the city like he's Superman because he can glide, but he doesn't have a glider. And it's just kind of fun to just watch Morgan Freeman fly around Gotham City like he's Superman. Whether or not that's was an intentional thing that they did or not, I don't know, but it's technically a part of the game, so it does add a little bit of bonus to it. And then the Batcave is by far the best Batcave we've ever gotten in any Lego game. Just the sheer amount of customization you can do to it, and the sheer number of vehicles and suits that are displayed in the Batcave that you can choose from, just really lets the game stand out. And while they don't have like the typical Lego game customization that they had in, pretty much every Lego game made in like 2018 and before, they still found a way to do the customization and have it present in a new way that suits this new era that they seem to be moving into. You can decide what vehicle you want to drive, what suits you want to wear, what color you want the vehicle and the suits to be. You can decide, what decorations you want in your bat cave, what bat trophies and everything, and just so much customization, so expansive, so much content throughout. And a lot of the side missions can at times just kind of feel like collectathons, but I think that one standout side mission, like side quest, was the Killer Croc storyline. I thought that was quite the standout, very different from all of the other side quests throughout the game. Where you have to go around, you do like actual detective work, and then at the end you get to fight Killer Croc. I thought that was a standout there. And then the Catwoman heist subplot was interesting. It was a nice way to kind of include the cat burglary aspect of Catwoman by having her commit heist and rob different places, but still do the anti-heroes thing with Catwoman that they were doing with this game by having it be for a good reason. But I mean, yeah, this game is just such a great game, so incredible. The largest open world that they've ever done, aside from maybe the Skywalker Saga Planets, but this game is far better than the Skywalker Saga. The open world is definitely better than the Skywalker Saga. I mean, it is quite possibly the greatest Lego game of all time, and is almost certainly the best Lego DC game ever made. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please drop a like down below, and also subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. Share your ranking of the Lego DC games down below in the comments. I'd love to hear what your ranking is. Be on the lookout on my channel. I'll have a few more Lego Batman related videos coming out over the next couple of days. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.